Lit terms covered in Week 3 include mediums, media, appeal to emotion, and appeal to logic. A medium is the means by which a message is conveyed. If you're an artist, you have to choose what kind of art you're going to do. Are you going to work with pencils, paints, sculpting, pottery? All of these are mediums for art, but writing is a medium as well, with various submediums therein. Popular mediums to communicate messages include film, social media, photographs, radio broadcasts, billboards, and more. Mediums specific to writing include text messages, emails, letters, essays, books, etc. You can probably think of many ways that you've seen writing incorporated into other mediums such as text on billboards or subtitles in movies. It's important to consider the medium you're using when you communicate because some are more conducive to certain circumstances or messages than others. Handwriting someone a love letter feels different for them than when you verbalize the same words or send them in a text message. If you want to make a wide audience feel something emotional, it's probably not practical to handwrite thousands of personal letters and send them to people, though that may have an intimate impact on the individuals who do receive them. You're more likely to reach a broad audience if you embed your message into an entertaining medium such as creating film or writing a book, or even a cleverly produced YouTube video can convey a less intimate and personal message to a massive audience. Sometimes a drawing, such as a political cartoon or a wordless image, can communicate a message far more poignantly than a 5,000-word essay could. Media. Media refers to the mass communication techniques that humans rely on for news and other information. Major news networks such as CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and more are parts of what is considered the mainstream media, as are national radio broadcasts, newspapers, and magazine publications. Lately, websites, social media, and YouTube channels, and so forth have grown to such popularity that average citizens now have a better chance to contribute to media than ever before. Consider how we, as citizens, rely on the media, and what are some of the benefits and drawbacks to increasing availability for everyday citizens to contribute to the media in ways that only trained journalists used to be able to. Appeals. When you appeal to something, you're taking an angle or making a request toward it. Two primary ways to appeal to people in your audience are through their emotions and through their sense of logic. Appeal to emotion. While this can be a logical fallacy, it doesn't make it ineffective or automatically wrong. If a charitable organization, for example, shows you a picture of a sickly child and is trying to raise money for it, then they are appealing to your emotion of sympathy, which is likely to make you more willing to part with some money. It may be something that you don't want to do or that you wouldn't have done if your emotions weren't brought into the equation, but just because your decision to help a sick child is brought on by your emotions doesn't mean you were wrong to do so. An appeal to emotions becomes fallacious or invalid when there is no pragmatic or factual reasoning behind the request or claim, and the propositioners are merely trying to scare, sadden, frighten, or excite you into believing them or supporting their causes. An appeal to logic or reason uses objective information to justify a request. It does not rely on its audience to have an emotional reaction in order to comply with the request, but rather works to explain why it is a practical and well-informed request to comply with. Consider the following two scenarios and decide which is an appeal to emotion and which is an appeal to logic. Man A is robbing Man B at gunpoint. Scenario 1. Man A pleads to Man B, "Please don't shoot me. I have 3 children who depend on me to provide for them. Without me, they'll become lost, hungry orphans." Scenario 2. Man A pleads to Man B, "It's best that you don't shoot me. The gun will make a loud noise, reducing your chances of a stealthy escape. My body will not only leave a crime scene for authorities to investigate, but it will make you guilty of both armed robbery and murder, which will be far more damaging to you if and when the police do find you, which they'll be far more motivated to do if you have made yourself into both a thief and a murderer." If you identified scenario 1 as an appeal to emotion, you are correct. Man B has no practical reason to believe or care about what Man A is saying, but if he isn't a sociopath, he's likely to emotionally empathize with the sake of the children that Man A mentions. If you identified scenario 2 as an appeal to logic, you were correct. Man 1 gave solid logical reasons for Man 2 to comply with his request, which would be mutually beneficial to both of them. An emotional person is more apt to be convinced by an appeal to emotion, whereas stoic, logical people are more likely to be convinced by an appeal to logic, though most people have both emotional and logical parts of their mind to be appealed to. In review, mediums are the means by which a message is conveyed. Media is the mass communication network that supplies the world with news and other information. An appeal to emotion is an effort to convince an audience using their emotional responses. An appeal to logic is an effort to convince an audience using their sense of practical reason and rationality.